Alright, hey everyone. Okay, so it's really late, and I just got done watching Grey Gardens for the first time. And yes, I'm like a year and a half behind. I've had it on my DVR for like forever. And I just wanted to kind of watch it tonight, just, willy nilly. And I'm like, this is the most kind of like stuck to the screen I've been for a long time. I mean, I've seen great movies recently. And it just got me really thinking. And it was a movie that I don't even know how to explain it. You know, at first, it starts out really slow for me personally, and I'm just like, okay, this isn't gonna be a nice movie. I'm just in shock the whole time. I'm just like, whoa, how is this possible? I mean, it just I couldn't even. You have to watch it. You have to watch it to understand it. It's just shocking. But that's not even the whole thing. Yeah, they lived in terrible conditions, but it's why. It's why they did what they did. Why they lived with diseased rodents and cats and ugh. And little Edie's, drive to do what she wanted to do. I mean, for those of you who don't know the story, it's about okay, how do I put this? Jackie Kennedy. If you don't know who that is, just don't even watch my channel. Her aunt, Big Edie, I forget the full name, but they were just called Big Edie, and then Little Edie was Edie's daughter. And in the, I believe, late 30s, early 40s, uh, the husband left, and numerous other things happened, so Little Edie came back to um, kind of take care of her mom, and I don't know how they got to where they got, but they got in terrible. And it was just so. I just was so amazed. And little Edie wanted to be famous. And throughout the movie, she tries numerous times. Her mom just doesn't really let it go. And in about the 70s, when it gets the worst, and after some things had happened, a film crew comes along and films the documentary Grey Gardens. And that was what was based. The movie that came out last year was based on. With Drew Barrymore. And I was watching it, and I just got me thinking about the end. You know, the wishes that are finally made, and become true, and the relationship that they had. I mean, you have to be really, 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 really close to someone to be able to go through that together. Little Edie's love for her mother. I mean, they didn't always get along, and I don't think it was a perfect relationship. And the reason I say, they must have been so close to each other in that way was because I didn't think they were crazy. I mean, they were nuts. They weren't with it and they had to live like that. But I don't really believe that they were mentally ill. I think they just had a lot of grief and a lot of problems. I was watching it and it made me think of, my family. I mean, okay, not in the terrible squalor, living in a rundown house, but when Big Edie first started going through the grief, there were pages all over, there were papers, there were cans, there were all of these things, and I thought, you know, that's someone close in my family right now. In the sense that, in one of the rooms that means something to her, and for my grandmother, and it was my grandfather's office, and there's papers strewn. Her whole house is fine, but in that one room, there's papers, and she's going through the mail, and it made me think of her, and is that how we all are? Could we all end up like that if someone in our lives left? Is that how it ends up? I mean, Big Edie, her husband left her and then later died. You know, my grandfather, you know, was with my grandmother until his dying day. But is grief like that? Can grief really change us? And denial. So my whole moral of the story is grief and denial. Can grief really change us that much? And can we be in such denial that there's something going on? Throughout a part of Grey Gardens, little Edie is basically told to her face that by her mother that something's not right. And she doesn't really go along with it. She just lets it go. And I really, really took heart in that because she believed. I don't think she was, like I said before, I don't think she was crazy. I think that she believed so strong that someday, something would happen for her. And then at the very end, well, one of the very end moments, the mother, you know, Big Edie, had saved her wedding jewelry for little Edie. And they could have sold it. They could have done all these things, like was talked about in the movie. But she didn't. She had hope. She maybe was in denial, but she held out. So I think, I know I'm rambling, but I have all these thoughts in my head from this utterly fantastic movie. And I just wanted to talk about them, kind of rant, and maybe I'll post some more replies to this video once I think about it, and what it means. Because I was so inspired. I couldn't go to bed without talking about it. Because it was just such a powerful movie. You don't expect it to be. You really don't expect it to be. That's all I'm going to say. You think it's just about the Kennedys and the Bouviers and how they lived in a shitty house. I mean, that's what you think. But it's not. It's a really powerful movie. There's a lot of themes. So once I can think through all of them, I will try to do videos on them. So this is just an overview. So if you didn't understand a word I said, just tell me and I'll read it. Alright, night.